Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, My daughter's 3F bio dad, 32M, is concerned that I'm 24M, not a fit parent for her. My daughter's 3F bio dad, 32M, reached out to me, 24M, after my boyfriend, 25M. And I got engaged because he doesn't believe that I'm a fit parent for her and I'm subjecting her to an unhealthy environment because I chose to marry a man instead of a woman, despite him leaving when my late sister got pregnant. Recently, my daughter's biological father, 32M, connected with me to express his concerns about the environment I was exposing his daughter to. For some background info, my sister got pregnant pretty young, 23. She was older than me at the time. Around that time, she had been in a casual relationship. It was purely sex, with someone from her workplace. So, it was fairly obvious to know who the father was. Long story short, he wanted nothing to do with her or her baby. She considered an abortion. My family was supportive of any decision she made, but in the end, she decided that she'd go through with the pregnancy. My daughter, 3F almost 4, came into my care early on. My sister died a little over 3 years ago, right around the time she had her baby. She had me down as the person she wanted to care for her daughter after her passing. Obviously, we didn't expect it to happen so soon. Her death was sudden, and it hit my entire family pretty hard. My mother and my older brother, 30M at the time, now 33, offered to take care of her since I was still young, but I wanted to respect my sister's wishes. She wanted me to take care of her, so that's what I was going to do. I tried to put a pause on my love life. Naturally, I've been wary about allowing people into my daughter's life, especially since I don't want her to feel like she's losing more people. She already lost her mom, which was hard enough. Still, I met a great guy, 25M, about 2.5 years ago and we're engaged now. He's an amazing co-parent and boyfriend, fiancé. She's gotten into the habit of calling him Dad now, after asking him if she could. It was honestly one of the most adorable things she's ever done. Just recently, her biological father reached out after hearing of this, and he had some strong opinions about how his daughter was being raised and the environment she was being raised in. He doesn't believe that I'm a fit parent for her solely because I'm bisexual and I apparently chose to marry a man instead of a woman. He doesn't believe it'll be a healthy environment for my daughter. I may not be her biological father, but I have been there for her from the start, unlike him. And so has my fiancé. He's been in her life ever since she was 1. She doesn't even know a life without him. I'm not even sure he should get a say in any of this. Unlike my sexual, romantic preferences, he chose not to be a part of her life. Still, he believes she needs a strong, male role model in her life along with a female one. She doesn't need to be confused by having 2 dads, as he put it, and he suddenly wants to be in her life. I don't know if I want someone like that in my daughter's life. He's not reliable, and when things get tough, it's safe to say he'll most likely up and leave. My fiancé doesn't trust him at all, but he's always been protective of our daughter. Nonetheless, I don't know what I should do about him. On the one hand, I don't want someone like him in her life, but I also don't want her to feel like she missed out on knowing her father because of me. Edit. I am her legal parent, and my husband-to-be also recently went through with adopting her. We have all our papers in order and all that. Bio dad was never listed on the birth certificate, nor has he ever paid any amount of child support. A user in the comments said, there's no mention made of the legal aspects. You need to make sure you're covered there as well. You're probably down as the guardian as per your sister's wishes. Is that enough? The biological father didn't give a crap before, but is that enough to prevent him raising a legal challenge to whatever the status quo is now? Get some legal advice if you have any doubts or uncertainties here. Get those sorted quickly. Stability in your daughter's life is something to protect, and fiercely. If you have every legal protection in place already, that's great, bases are covered. The next one is titled, Update. My daughter's 3F bio dad, 32M, is concerned that I'm 24M. Not a fit parent for her. It's been a couple of days since I, 24M, posted the original post about the situation with my daughter's 3F biological father and his issues with my fiancé, 25M. My fiancé and I both have our legal bases covered. I had full custody before he recently went through with adopting her as well. She's our daughter now. Sperm donor has never legally been recognized as her biological father, and he never took any initiative until now, even if his motives are coming from the wrong place. He was aware of her birth and my sister has given him the opportunity to step up although being absent during the pregnancy. He didn't show up to birth or make any effort to contact my sister or help her out despite working in the same place. He was also aware the following month when she died and did nothing about that either. He's only inserting himself now because of his concern over his daughter being raised by two men. A few days after the initial post, we had a little disturbance in the middle of the night. I had put Lo to sleep and fiancé and I were also going to sleep when we heard loud banging on the front door. It was startling to say the least. My fiancé went to check it out and told me to stay upstairs. I followed after him shortly when the shouting began. Bio dad was at the door, clearly drunk. He was pointing a broken bottle at my fiancé as he cursed and shouted slurs at him. This obviously woke my daughter up. She came downstairs to see what was going on. I took her back upstairs while fiancé tried to get him to back off. He can be an intimidating guy when he wants to be. After some time, he somehow got him to leave while I tried to calm Lo down. She was tired so I managed to get her to sleep before checking in with fiancé. He had a cut on his hand, but the first thing he asked me was if I was okay. Seriously, don't know what I did to deserve him. We're still a little shaken up from the entire thing and have been planning on getting more security cameras around the house. Our daughter hasn't been sleeping well lately. She'll only sleep with if one or both of us are with her. Seeing a strange man threaten her dad really did a number on her and I feel incredibly guilty that she had to see that. We've been trying to tell her that it's all right, and keep her occupied in the mornings, but her fears seem to be coming back at night again and again, which is completely understandable. I never imagined things would get violent, especially going as far as to threaten my partner. I'm just glad he was okay, still a scary situation, nonetheless. The next one is titled, Ex cheated on me and falsely accused me of assaulting her, so I exposed her to everyone she knew. In late May 2016, I asked my crush, Kate, of 3 years out on a coffee date. 3 dates later, we made things official. For the next 7 months, our relationship felt too good to be true. We clicked on so many interests, so we hardly ever disagreed on anything. We were very open with each other, which led to an incredible sex life. We both had good jobs, so we had money to spoil one another, and our families were both enthusiastic about our relationship. In January 2017, I was accepted into my country's Armed Forces Reserve program as a combat engineer. I underwent basic training from February to late April and was up until then the hardest thing I had ever done. There were several times I thought I wouldn't graduate, and the only thing that kept me going was Kate's words of encouragement over texts and calls. She was there when I received my BTC certificate, and never let me forget how proud she was of me. As part of my job in the reserves, I would have to go away in the summer for advanced training, between early June to late August. Kate fully supported me going 400 kilometers away to the training center and spending almost our entire summer break on work to further my military career. The summer was brutal on me. I was a social outcast from every clique that formed on our course and was the butt of several jokes. My self-esteem plummeted through the floor, but Kate's belief in me was what made me prevail. I passed as 5th best on course, and I owed it all to her. The decline. Things between us started to sour after returning home. According to her, I wasn't as spontaneous and outgoing as before I went away. I was dismissive, took small jabs and jokes as personal insults, and would rather stay in, watch movies, and have sex instead of going out. Unbeknownst to both of us, I had developed some nasty social anxiety due to the events of the summer, and it started affecting our relationship. Nearing our 2-year anniversary in 2018, we got into a heated argument over a small misunderstanding, and subsequently broke up. I was incredibly distraught, before she texted me 3 days later and said she wanted to try and fix things. I didn't see her for 3 weeks, but we kept in touch every day, slowly mending things. When we officially got back together, nothing felt the same. Every time I talked with her, it was as if I was walking on eggshells, and it only worsened my anxiety, which in turn hurt our already damaged relationship. Then things finally came to a head at the end of July. The hurt. While in school, Kate had met a dude named John. She saw in John what she used to see in me, and they quickly became very close friends. He consoled her through our breakup and every little time I messed up afterwards. For the record, I knew of John, but never thought Kate would ever do anything with him. One night after work, we had planned for me to stay the night at Kate's place. I arrived to see the two of them chilling on the living room couch. Kate said that John had dropped by for a spontaneous visit, and he was just leaving. After John left, she became cold and distant. I slowly accepted that our relationship was dead and asked her how things were between us. She echoed my thoughts, and we agreed to break up the next day. She said I could stay the night one last time, seeing how it was late and she was still worryful of me. From there on until she fell asleep, Kate became uncharacteristically glued to and protective of her phone. In the past, she wouldn't care if I had glanced over to catch her and her friends texting about whatever, but now she did her best to hide the screen from me. I asked her about it, and she said it was private stuff, which only raised more questions. After she fell asleep, curiosity got the better of me. I unlocked her phone, I knew her passcode, and found hundreds of messages between her and John. Messages about how she was now single, how exciting it was that they could now be a couple in public, and laughing at me about every little thing I did. I quietly sobbed as I read through each hurtful text. My crying wasn't as quiet as I thought. Kate stirred, and once she realized what I was doing, she threw a fit. I couldn't find the anger or words to combat her, so I just grabbed my stuff and left, with Kate shouting and yelling at me the whole time. It was late in the morning when I got home. I just broke down and ugly cried all night. I called in sick from work the next day, and spent it sulking in my bed. The day after, I got several angry texts from Kate's friends and family. In a bid to save her image and denounce anything I might say about her, she told anyone she knew that I had forced myself upon her that night in one last attempt to get some, before we broke up and left after the deed was done. Though what I had done was scarring, she refused to press charges because she didn't want to make a circus of her life in court, and was the bigger person by doing so. I spent the next few months in fear that her allegation would have me discharged from the army and my image forever tarnished, but nothing ever happened. The revenge. 5 months afterwards, Kate demeaned me. After pleasantries, she basically apologized for the whole thing, and actually admitted to faking it, though she would never publicly admit it to save her own reputation. My image, be damned. This angered me, but I kept cool. I screenshot the texts and continued talking with her. Over the next 3 months, she entered into a cycle of events as follows. Complain about a current life situation, usually about John screwing up in their relationship in one way or another and asking for advice. Lamenting our relationship, how I never screwed up like John did, how she wished we could go back to the way things were, blah blah blah. Ignoring me because John finally pulled his head out of his ass, did some huge romantic gesture, and saved their relationship. Going on a smear campaign on social media about our relationship, employing her friends for help, knowing in full that I would see it all, and trying to bait me into an argument. It would work. She would try to turn the argument around and paint me as the bad guy, and then block me for about a month, before repeating the cycle. This happened 3 times like clockwork, and always left me burnt out and broken, but a part of me wanted it to happen. Each time it did, I took screenshots of every damning thing she said. I had a full SD card of everything I compiled before I finally decided it was time. Making several picture copies of the worst text messages I caught, I bought several manila envelopes and mailed them to everyone I thought would matter to Kate. Her parents, grandparents, extended family she was super close with, best friends, work boss, coworkers, teachers, whoever I could find a mailing address for. I made sure that anyone getting the envelope would know that the texts were between me and Kate and sent them off. Within 3 weeks, I got results. Some of the people who messaged me to shame and insult me before now apologized for their words. My favorite was from her own parents, who went on to say that they were deeply sorry about their daughter's behavior, how they raised her to be better than how she acted, and to please not pursue any legal actions. The thought had crossed my mind, but I did not have the money nor the mental fortitude to fight a legal battle. I told them I'd think about it, and that they'd be the first to know besides Kate if I did. Kate sent me some texts as well, with things like, "How could you betray my trust like that?" or, "You ruined my life, you bastard." I didn't reply, I just read every angry text that flew in with a satisfied grin and then blocked her when they stopped. I never fully found out how badly her life was affected by my revenge, but I do know that she dropped out of school and no longer has a job. I hope John was worth it. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.